Hi, Peter Charles of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing here. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about using a spinning rod, but thinking like a fly fisherman. In other words, we're going to get out there and fish for steelhead, and yet we're going to present our soft plastic swim bait, our JACKALL glossy shad, like a fly fisherman. We're going to present like a fly fisherman. So let's get looking at what we're going to be using today. First off, the rod. It's a Shimano Claris 10-foot medium action steelhead rod. The reel is a Saros 4000 FA. The line is 20-pound POWERPRO Super 8 slick in HI-VIS yellow. And what we're going to be fishing will be this glossy shad by JACKALL. And we're going to use a typical worm hook for it. And I'm using a top shot of 15-pound fluorocarbon. Now what's interesting and what's going to make this work for us is that when we swing this kind of setup in current, the POWERPRO doesn't want to sink that much. However, the fluorocarbon does. So it allows us to maintain our depth based on the thickness and the length of the top shot. So in fairly faster flows and deeper runs, we'd use a long top shot. If we're fishing a shallow, slow run, we'd use a shorter top shot, or we could use thicker and thinner as well. So we've got some options. Anything that reduces drag is going to allow us to sink the glossy shad deeper, because as you can see by this hook, it's an unweighted glossy shad that I'm going to be fishing. Now we could use weighted as well. We could use a hook with a keel weight, that would work, but we're going to go with an unweighted in this video. Now I've got two segments coming up. One segment is fishing the pool with the fly rod, and just to give you an idea of how we approach it. And the rest of it is a couple of days worth of footage on fishing the same pool using a spinning rod in this glossy shad. So let's get going and see how that worked out. So I know this video is about using a spinning rod for steelhead, but I'm out here with a 15-foot 7/8 Loomis GLX and a narrow flow Delta 2 line, just to show you how we fish with a fly. I'll give you an idea how we work, and then from this point on we'll be using a spinning rod. I'm using an emerald shiner tube fly. It looks like a common bait fish found in Lake Erie that the steelhead like to eat. So I'm offering that to them this morning, and I'm offering it to them very slowly. Make it look like it's weak, it's crippled, it's not doing well. In other words, an easy target. After each cast, I step down the pool. And I cast across the current and downstream at an angle. And I cast the same angle on the same length of line with each cast. And as I move down the pool, basically I'm taking 1-yard slices out of the pool with each cast. And I want to replicate that with a spinning rod later on. I'm going to try and cast the same distance at the same angle. It's going to be a little tougher to do. It's easier to do with a fly rod, but still I should be able to do it no problem. Okay, we didn't get anything on the fly, so let's go back to the vehicle and pull out the spinning rod and see how we do. Now, you notice I'm casting at about a 60-degree angle to the current. And then I straighten my line up, which in fly fishing is called mending. I want to keep this running as straight as possible. I've got my finger on the line so I can feel anything that touches the glossy shad. And the other thing is I want that glossy shad off the bottom. I don't want it dragging bottom. And I want it to just come across very slowly, looking like it's weak, it's injured, looking like it's easy meal. Now the interesting thing about using this technique is employing the fact that POWERPRO is reluctant to sink in current. So when it's dragging in the current, it wants to stay on top, just like a floating fly line. And then I've got a top shot, in this case about 10 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon and a tippet of 10-pound fluorocarbon. And the fluorocarbon sinks. So basically I'm fishing this just the same way I would fish a floating fly line with a sink tip. When you're on the dangle, just lift your rod up, Some slow turns on the crank. You get fish following them. What happens is a steelhead will follow a fly, or in this case a soft plastic swim bait, across the pool, won't touch it, and will sit there underneath it when it's on the dangle, and then as soon as you start to retrieve, it whacks it. Very common, happens all the time. Oh, shoot. Left slowly. Oh, shoot. That's two on the dangle. That was a poke. I just lifted, I got a little bunk. Yeah. This is getting boring. See, I take any belly out of the line, and now you see I'm dropping the rod tip down the current towards the glossy shad, and what that's doing is it's slowing it down and it's sinking it. If I was to hold the rod tip back or immediately put the rod tip downstream, well, if I do it down, there we go, fish, steelhead. If the steelhead takes very lightly, you may just see your line move. That's another reason for using HI-VIS yellow. Sometimes they take ever so softly. So you need to be able to see the line so you can tell if it's moving or not. You can see I've got my finger on the line. And because I'm using HI-VIS yellow POWERPRO, oh, there we go. Fish on. No, fish off. Poo. But steelhead, you don't want to be dragging bottom. Ideally, you want it to be above their heads. You never want to swing this at the steelhead. The steelhead will flee. Got him. Oh, this feels like a big bass. Oh, that's a nice bass, about 2 pounds. I'm amazed I'm still hitting bass at this time of the year. Shows you the warm weather we're getting. But one of the things that this is doing is that this is a decent bass. It's showing you how effective this method is for bass as well. I mean, this slow presentation, I really like it. Ooh, this is a good sized bass. I know I'm in here for steelhead, but I'll take this any day of the week. No, it's a walleye. It's a half decent walleye. Look at that. Works for walleye too.